right, ready, guys?
Yes.
We're good? Excellent. Hi, this is Jackie with In the Key of Change, and I'm here with Chevonne The Fuzz at CMJ Music Marathon in New York City. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Now that we've gotten everyone squished into view, describe your new sound, or describe your sound to new listeners.
Okay, so I shouldn't hold it. I'm so awkward. Okay, so it's we're mostly a rock band. Our songs do have pop influence. They have a little bit of soul. Some are harder than others. Some are extremely light and catchy. I guess we like to say that we're a rock band who writes pop songs.
Nothing wrong with that. Pop's not a four-letter word anymore. It's back, right?
I think so.
Well, yeah.
Very cool. So if new listeners could only hear one song off of your new EP, Fire at Will, what is the one song you want to make sure they hear?
The one song everyone absolutely has to hear is Burnout, because it's the first song that we wrote together as a band, and it's the first song that really came organically. Mikey started by writing a guitar riff, and then Chris wrote, I would say, 99% of the lyrics. I just kind of put the last little stank on it. And it's a good stank. Good stank. And we all put our hearts and souls into it because we felt like we really had something to prove to ourselves and to everyone. It's kind of, people are calling it post-hardcore, but it's really just a rock song with a cool beat behind it, and just little different little musical structures and breaks, and it's a dope song. It's just awesome.
Well said. So Fire at Will was funded through Kickstarter. Congratulations, first of all. What sort of risk do you take relying on fans to fund your music?
Well, the risk is the inherent risk with Kickstarter is if you don't reach your goal, that's it. You don't get anything. So when we were trying to put together a number, $10,000 seemed like it wasn't going to be enough to make the record, but it'd be enough to help us get started. And it was scary. For 30 days, we were like, oh my God, But it was a good feeling when you'd go to bed and you'd wake up the following morning, $2,000 more and $500 more. And we had booked a show to try and beg for money at the show to help, more or less try to bring Kickstarter in a live setting. And while we're at the show, before we even started, we hit the goal. So we got to kind of take that show and celebrate, getting there. But yeah, the risk is always there. But now we know, at least a bunch of people kind of want to hear it. So they bought the record when it came out. But it was a great thing. Kickstarter is amazing.
Any tips or tricks for other bands that would consider using it, to maybe any insider tips that you could give them?
I would say definitely go for a risky number, but don't go for a number that's impossible, because you do want to reach your goal. If you don't make it, you don't, all the money goes back to the pledges and you end up with nothing. So, find a middle ground. Also, make sure that you play shows and have parties and be really creative with your fundraising. Some of the money doesn't have to come through the site. It could come through other things. We played our final fundraiser show to just get it over the hump, and it worked. And it was really smart idea. And if you can get your community involved and really do things in person to make your number go up, that's really, I think, that's what's really going to make the most difference.
Good to know. Think about it. So here at CMJ, there are tons of acts, tons of people flowing in and out. How do you make sure people remember Chevonne The Fuzz?
Her red hair.
Definitely styling is key. And I don't mean, hire a stylist. Just be sure what your identity is as a whole. We always make sure that we form a cohesive look, and we make sure that our look is consistent with our sound. And that's another thing. Make sure your sound is consistent. When you step up and you hit and you play your first note, make sure it's signature you, something that's going to set you apart from all the other bands. Just really know who you are and go out there with the purpose of having a blast. It's CMJ. Sometimes it could feel like, you're trying to work, you're trying to hustle, you're trying to network, but what you really have to do is enjoy it and let your true artistry come through.
So what's one thing you need to make sure to do on stage for a good showcase performance?
Just live in it. You really just, we let ourselves live in our music, and we let that translate on stage to anywhere we're playing and to anyone that we're playing to.
Sounds like fans can expect a lot of fun. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, your music has been featured on The Voice, is that correct?
I was on The Voice before the band was together. The band was actually formed as a result of me being on The Voice because the coaches I worked with, CeeLo and Christina, were adamant about me moving forward and pursuing my own music. Because before I was a background singer for Estelle and for Gaga. And so it was a huge turning point. I recorded 2 singles for iTunes that were obviously covers. And then my last song on the show was a Billy Idol song. I was dancing with myself, and it was the first time I really let my inner rock girl out to everyone, and it felt so perfect and wonderful. And I was always so afraid to rock, and the first time I did it was by myself with no band. They were invisible, in the shadows, on The Voice in front of, Christina. So, it gave me the strength to move forward with what I knew was in my heart.
Is there any one piece of advice that they gave you that sort of sticks in your mind?
CeeLo was really good about telling me, he always said, you're so fiery. You've got this, spark in you, and it could be a really great tool for you, but it could also be you could also go too far and do too much. So make sure you find that delicate balance between that fire and that power and restraint. And that was such an elegant note for me, and it was such a he's just brilliant. And every piece of advice he gave to me, I really take into account every day.
Very cool. Nice to get that expert advice, I'm sure. So what's up next for Chevonne The Fuzz?
Thank you.
Well, right now, we're just going to be trying to get our name out there as best we can. Play shows whenever we can. We're launching our website soon, ChevonneandTheFuzz.com, and we're going to have different podcasts, and, everyone's going to have, their own little thing they're going to write, whether it be books, a guitar player over there with his artwork, or Nick doing album reviews. So we're just going to try to be proactive and, make sure, the world knows who we are. And then, hopefully hop on a tour with somebody and just get that opportunity to play in front of people.
Well, stay tuned for more from Chevonne and The Fuzz. This is Jackie with In the Key of Change. All right.